Hi everybody and welcome back to the True Potential Do More With Your Money podcast. It's the end of the month again, which gives us a fantastic opportunity to review the month that was, but also to look forward to the month ahead and indeed the rest of 2024 as well. So as always, I'm going to cover some of the top themes for the month, but I'm also going to bring my team in who are going to give a bit more flavour about what's been good, what's been changing, and importantly, what are we going to be looking forward to into July onwards. So I'm joined today by Jen, by Paul, and by Russell. So welcome aboard, all three of you, or in your case, Russell, welcome aboard for the first time.
Thank you.
As well. So delighted to have you on. And for those who don't know, Jen works in our relationship management team, Paul in the investment management team itself, and Russell is one of our developers. And you're the longest serving in the room, apart from me. So 16 years you've worked with me and the team there, Russell. So
yeah, it's been really good.
It's been a good 16 years until today.
It is.
Yeah. But
last year.
Yeah, that's last year, so enjoy it. But no, thanks everybody for joining me today. And just really to recap on the month, I've got some fantastic facts and figures, but I'm just going to pick out 2 or 3 particular highlights where we've now gone above 540,000 different clients who are invested on our platform. We look after close to £32 billion now. I think we've finished the month on about 31.5 billion invested on the platform. And that's been aided and abetted by a couple of thousand new clients being added in June, but also I think some fantastic market returns from you and the team, Paul, which I'll dig into in a couple of moments' time. So a lot really to smile about against a backdrop actually which at times seems noisy. You know, we've had an election launched, you know, which at the end of this week we'll have a new government by the looks of things in place, and I know you and the team are going to be talking about that a lot of this week, Paul, in terms of the morning markets and what to expect. And again, I'll keep my powder dry on that for the time being, because Jen, I know you and the team have been answering a lot of queries along there as well. So we have that. We have the news in terms of the French election as well. We had our first US presidential debate just last week as well. So things are heating up in the world of politics, which can at times affect your money, both in good and bad ways from there. So keeping a good eye on that. Also, I think from a out of office side of things, we had a fantastic month in terms of our charities as well. More than 30 members of the team got to play at St James's Park. Not so pleased to say we played 4 and lost 4 games, but we did our best. Unlike the England team, who seemed to not do their best, but keep winning from there. But that was a good achievement. It was a good way to say thank you to some of the staff who help us with that particular charity, the Newcastle United Foundation. And it was also a good way to pass the milestone of we've worked with them for about 5 years now, and we've raised more than £200,000 with them there. So it was a good way to celebrate that particular figure. But let me jump across into celebrations. I mentioned it's been a good month in terms of returns. Paul, is that right? Am I putting you on the spot?
No, absolutely. It's been, a great, not only June, but year to date, 12 months. It's been a great time to be invested. And as you talked about, there's always something to be concerned about, whether it's a recession, elections, geopolitics, markets at all-time highs. But markets have continued to grind higher. So if we look at world equities in the month, they're up over 2%, led by the US market again, which is the market that we've been overweight across all of the True Potential portfolios. And we've really had a constructive growth outlook, and that's really paid off for us. And that's been driven by stronger growth in the US and stronger corporate earnings. But I suppose really the US market continues to benefit from this secular theme of AI, which is becoming the buzzword. Yeah. And True Potential is trying to integrating it into the software that we have, but it's really having a big impact on equity market returns. So if we take NVIDIA, which I'm sure many viewers are becoming familiar with, that was up 13% again in the month, 150% year to date. But our portfolios are exposed to that as well. So if I look at the True Potential balanced portfolio, it's up 1.3% in June, 5%, just over 5% year to date, and 10.5% 8% over the last 12 months. If I take the aggressive portfolio, nearly 2% in June, 15% in 12 months. So great returns for clients. And you've really been rewarded for being invested, staying in your seat, and let the portfolios do the work.
No, and I it's a really important message, Paul, and kind of hot off the press. I had a day off on Friday and I went to do a driving experience with Porsche. So I'll not name the client's name, but my instructor's a true potential client, which he didn't know. So he was asking me the normal kind of, what do you do for a living? And I said, I work for a firm called True Potential. And he says, oh, I'm a client of those. So I didn't tell him who I was, which is, so if you ever have an ego and think everyone knows who you are, they haven't got a clue. So that's good news as well, by the way, because I like to stay under the radar. But I kind of I fact-finded him for about 5 minutes and just asked some general questions. And he joined arguably at a bad time to become a client of ours, let's say about 2 years ago. And up until, that kind of last quarter of last year, he'd either been flat or he'd actually lost a little bit of money, and he was starting to get a bit concerned. But he spoke to the relationship management team, Jen, and the advisors, and they had counselled him to stay put. And what he said is, at one stage I was down £12,000 last year, but he says as of today, he says I'm up £20,000. So he hasn't just recovered that 12, he's then built onto it from there. So if you are listening today, Mr., I'll not name your name, but it was a credit to see you on Friday. Thank you for helping me hurtle around the track and have a good time.
I think it's a worthwhile point. Market volatility can be, naturally difficult, but it's important to pick up the phone, speak to someone at head office, get a bit of comfort, get a bit of context of why there's a bit of volatility in markets. Always helps. Yeah,
and that's a lovely segue, Paul. You've done my job across to Jen, because another busy month, Jen, in terms of looking after clients and helping them out.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had just under 9,000 calls this month, so it's been a busy month. I think a lot of it's come from queries around the general election that's coming up. So just again checking in, seeing how's that going to affect their investments. Is there anything they need to be concerned about? Asking if they feel like they should speak to an advisor about it. Do they need to change their level of risk? So there are questions that are coming in for the team around those subjects, for sure.
Do clients feel nervous, would you say?
Yeah, there's a few clients are calling in and they're unsure about what it means for them. They've seen, the past couple of years, like you've mentioned, we've seen some drops in the market which they've recovered from, and they're just hoping that, they keep seeing an overall increase. They don't want to see it going down again. So there is some nerves around that for sure. But like you say, it's just nice for them to call up if they are concerned, speak it with an advisor, look at it from the long-term perspective, and just try and stay in the seats where they can for that.
And it's not an odd one that clients are nervous, because I don't think anybody likes change at all. Everyone likes the status quo normally. But Paul, it's probably, would it be fair to say, it's been different in the markets, where markets just kind of took this news of the election in their stride?
Yeah, absolutely. If you think about, where we might see some weakness or volatility would be in UK government bond yields. So we saw that with Liz Truss, and really, if we go back to Liz Truss, what she was trying to do was spend much more than the government could really afford, and the markets did not take that well. Unfortunately, if we think about the situation for the UK today, they've already got big fiscal deficits, which means that the Labour government, if they do get in, then they can't really spend much, and they'll be cautious to do so because they know what happened with Liz Truss. So markets are uninterested at the minute from a UK election perspective.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was at a global investment forum 2 weeks ago now, and met an ex-Prime Minister. And I actually asked him what he thought about Labour's proposed budget, and he was quite pragmatic. I'll not give away the chap's name because I was speaking kind of off the record, so to speak, but he just said, I can't even see how they can afford what they're talking about right now in terms of the manifesto as well. He used some rough economics, but he says you assume growth's at about 1% right now. A lot of that spending requires 3% growth, which is a perennial problem. Like when we talk about the UK, we just haven't had that growth for a long time now. So something has to change.
It's certainly difficult. If we go back to 1997 when Labour got in, Labour really just benefited from this huge productivity wave. You just don't have that in the UK right now.
And productivity-wise, Jen, I think you guys have been really busy in terms of helping clients take stock of where they've been in terms of their annual suitability reviews?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of calls come through this month, so we've been reaching out to more clients to try and get a few more of those reviews done. Yeah. And then we've got the action plans on the site now as well, so they're getting follow-up actions when those reviews are done. But there've been some really nice calls I've found when I've been speaking to clients. They've been quite chatty and quite open with their circumstances, and it really helps us as a team and our advisors when they go to speak to them if clients are open to those conversations. But yeah, we've managed to have some really nice chats with them and, learn a lot about our clients, open up a lot of conversations with them and get them booked in for advice if they are concerned about something, or if something like employment or cost of living is affecting them at the moment, we're able to get them booked in for advice with those. But it's been nice to speak to people and learn a little bit about people and see where they're at with it. And then the action plans we've got on the site that we've just started doing more recently, it's making sure that the clients have got like the follow-up action as well. They're looked after once they've done the review too.
And I think it's really important to do that, Jen. And I think, as you very rightly say, the quality of the conversations is great. We always want our clients to know we're here for them, and we want to speak to them, and we want to have those personal connections. And I think an annual suitability review, on the face of it, can seem quite almost a bit of an administrative task, like, but I always, and I know you do, and that's why you've been so busy with this month, we always urge our clients to make sure you do complete it every year. It's part of the proposition which our clients pay for, which helps generate those action plans, and I think which you rightly mentioned there. But I think it also lets a client take stock of where they were a year ago, what's done well, what maybe hasn't done as well, and what they want to do for the year ahead as well, which I guess is that action plan side of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you follow up with the action plan? Do you ring clients up if they haven't looked at it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's some actions that the clients can complete themselves online, so things like downloading the app, for example. But there's anything where we think there might be a concern about savings that they've got, if there's been any major changes to their circumstances, so if they've retired recently, for example, anything like that, we'll get in touch with the client, have a conversation with them about it. How much has it impacted them? Are they concerned about it? Do they need to speak to a financial advisor? And we're just encouraging people to, like you say, make use of the service that they're paying for and get them booked in. Have a look at where they are now, where were they a year ago, and where do they see themselves in the future, and make sure they're on track to reach their goals.
Oh, fantastic. So that's an urge from me and Jen at different sides of the table. Please do your annual suitability review, and when we email you, please take action on it, because it's really important for us. And it's really important in terms of the conversations you're having, Jen, but in terms of the data we capture, which leads me across to you, Russell, in terms of, you mentioned a little bit about AI in Paul's session, and Paul kind of nodded toward you a little bit. So tell us a bit about what we're up to, please.
So in terms of development then, AI is very popular at the minute, although maybe the public are maybe getting a little bit tired of it. However, in technology-wise, it's already proven itself as being a really popular tool. You may get some negativity around some of the way that it's been implemented. However, we always try to use AI in a positive way to benefit the end user and the advisor. So it's not just to shoehorn it in anywhere. So in terms of what we've done last month, you've already got the video calls that the central advice team and yourself use to talk to clients. What we've done is we've added AI into that now, and that will do some real-time transcriptions. So as you're on the call with your client in the background, it'll build up a transcription. It can identify multiple clients as well as the person speaking, and then when you hang up the call, it will pass up the transcription into AI and convert it into a nice readable summary, and it'll also generate an action plan for you. So if the client mentions they've had a change in circumstances or they wish to update their address or so forth, it'll generate a nice set of action plans that you can then utilise. Yeah. So that was the transcriptions.
And just to stay on that one for a minute, Russell, because I think that's a great bit of technology, by the way, and I'm not just saying it because you'll hit me because I'm close to you there, but even when you talk about the transcription itself, that's something normally Jen and the team before this would have had to sit and manually type up.
Yep.
So what that means is actually now we're not having to do that. We can just review our notes, of course, and get in front of the rest of our clients far faster. So it frees up you from admin, Jen, and into there. But then those insights that you're talking about there, and I think we're just scratching at the surface, because I was in a meeting just last week where what we'll start to do with all of that information is not just create action plans, but really begin to tailor our messaging further to our clients. So let's say the next time a client calls in, and maybe they've been speaking to Jen about the weather and things like that, Jen instantly knows to talk to the client again about the weather. So we'd start to recap. I'm using weather as a very generic thing there. We could talk about cash, we could talk about elections, we could talk about people's money, but I just wanted to keep it at that high level there.
That's the great thing with this version of AI, and how well it understands human language. And if you're using it in that way, you can extract any information that you want that's being discussed in real time, and then because we can integrate it with our system, we can extract that into a data set that we understand going forward. So yes, it's simple enough for us to build up a nice friendly profile across all the clients that you speak with.
Yeah, I know the advisors have found that piece of technology in particular really helpful for taking the notes from the calls, getting everything that they've discussed down. So little things like that when they've got a 40-minute call and they're making notes from that, little things that they might have, forgot to make a note of that they've discussed at the beginning of the call, or they might have just deemed as, rapport building or anything at the beginning. That's all documented there as well now, which they might not have done previously. And I know it's definitely saved them a lot of time, and it's the accuracy as well is something that they've commented on.
The accuracy is great, isn't it? And then if you seem to tie that in with the type of calls you're having with the annual suitability reviews, and indeed what the clients are then doing with the reviews, it's really exciting. And I probably don't want to spoil too much, because I'll talk about some of our secrets, which I'm sure you'll actually want to talk about when we've brought them out as well. But this isn't a gimmick, but far from it. This is going to be really exciting for our clients.
And I think what differentiates us is because we're integrated, you'll find that there are third-party apps, because everyone's trying to release AI as fast as possible. So you'll see these other apps that have them, but because it's integrated with our video and our system, everything's kept in-house and it can be used efficiently.
No, looking forward to seeing more of it.
Well, sticking with AI, we've also updated a couple of libraries. So in our advisor-facing systems, you've got a compliance and a document library. Each contain over 100 documents in each library. In the past, all you could do was search those for a title. So we've added AI into this now, which essentially allows you to search or even ask a question. So you could ask in the compliance section a question, let's say what documents are required for an ISA submission, for example, and it will use all the documents within that section, and it'll try and give you an answer, but more importantly, it will then list the documents that it thinks applicable to your question. So now it hopefully makes using these libraries a little more user-friendly again for the advisor, and to help them pull out the information that they need quicker.
And again, that goes back to, in case people think, well, so what? That importantly means your advisor is going to spend more time with you as our clients, rather than more time just doing the books, so to speak. So that speed of getting the right answer and getting the information straight away is paramount, because it again makes us more efficient. More efficient means more time spent with real life conversations rather than bookkeeping.
And it helps us, because AI is new and it's always changing. Putting it into these sort of systems helps us understand how it's working more, so we can further improve future systems.
And again, just put myself in a client's shoes. You can imagine we've obviously got the documents folder, and I'll talk about tax reports in a little bit. It'll start to be able to help clients find the right documents fast, but then also help you give context to it. So actually I'll stay on the tax reports now, because all of our clients will start getting an email now. You may have already had one saying your tax report's ready to download from your site. So you can get that, and what I like to think we've done with that is you've obviously got the fuller tax report, but a really handy summary sheet at the start. Or so I thought it was handy, but you've just said to me, Russell, you've got yours, and you didn't quite understand a part of it.
I'm very naive in that sense.
Yeah.
So I just opened up a document and saw numbers, and then I've just got to think, where do I type those numbers when I come to do my tax report?
Yeah. So the answer today is ring Jen, and the team will help you with that. The answer in the future will be...
I'll ask AI.
Yeah, ask AI. It'll tell you which exact figures to pull from there and into there. Because again, that's just rules, and that's where I like a lot of AI, because it can understand the context of your question and apply it to the rules. So where do I put the dividends, which comes in your tax report? Have I had any income from any of my funds? Where do I put that in there as well? So it's, again, people often hear me talk about when we build tech, it has to have a purpose. It's not, we don't just build tech because that looks fun.
Yeah.
Frankly, because I know what you and the gang are like at times, so sometimes there are some quite exotic and fun-looking developments to do. But hopefully we can all stop you doing that by saying, well, what's the purpose of it? What's the point? And so AI is fun, it's interesting. And by fun, I just mean because it's when you're learning something new and applying something new, it becomes quite addictive. But that long-term purpose, I think, is what probably hopefully differentiates us.
I thought you were leading on to the voice that we trained it with. Someone in here.
No, we've talked about poor Chris Leyland and his famous
you don't want to hear what he's
Scouser tones, But the first time we ever showed that, so for people who don't know what we're talking about here, bit of the work you're doing, Russell, is you'll be able to get a personalised portfolio summary, spoken out loud, so to speak. And you trained it with Chris Leyland's voice. So,
yes.
So anyone who's listened to Chris Leyland on these podcasts before knows he has a Liverpool accent, Scouse accent, so quite distinctive. And we probably decided not to use Chris's voice for two reasons. I think the first one is I'm not sure people are ready yet for almost that deepfake-esque impersonation of people. So it's better use a generic voice like we're using it. But the other one was Chris Leyland went white when he heard it. And he's people know what Chris looks like, and he looked like he was going to be sick.
His voice worked so well.
It does.
Not everyone's does to begin with, but Chris's worked really well.
Is it the Scouse accent?
I think it was. And it's even better now. We just keep it for ourselves.
Yeah. So if anybody wants a little demonstration, just speak to the dev team and we'll...
And Chris does know all about this, doesn't it?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No. He'll be listening to this, Paul, and then from there. Well, no, look, I think that side of the tech is really interesting, Russell. And again, what do I like about it the best? It's all about letting all of us at head office do the tasks where I think we really create value, which is that personal touch, that human touch side of things, and doing away with tasks which are very important, don't get me wrong, but do take up time as well. And frankly, something we all talk about, if we just spend all of our life helping our advisors and clients, we crack it here at True Potential. So AI to me is a real enabler for all of that rather than a replacement.
I think that also leads on to one of the other bits of functionality we released last month is the services tab in the client websites. Again, it's just to help the clients find the information a bit more easily.
Yeah.
So some of the key things they could find there is inheritance or tax planning, which is maybe I need. And you can go there and you can arrange a call with someone.
Yeah.
So again, it's just bringing some of the services we offer in an easier to see place.
And again, it's information which already exists, just bringing it into a better place, as you say there. So.
And eventually we'll sprinkle some AI to improve that.
Everything will have AI.
It will do, and as much as people think that it might not, because again there is negativity around it, but if used properly, it is such a powerful tool.
I think
it can't be ignored.
The negativity is people feel they may be getting shortchanged if you end up dealing with the computer all of the time rather than the people.
Well, that yes.
It's also making sure it's accurate, making sure we've got the right controls and processes in place, all of which we do.
Yeah, so our aim is not to replicate a chat bot.
No.
it's integrated.
Yeah.
So it's there to help.
Yeah, because I think we've all been there before. There's nothing worse where there's a chatbot that's pretending to be a person.
Yeah.
It's quite irritating from there. So no, we won't be doing that. But look, we'll jump across into other things we've been up to. This month at the start, I mentioned about the Newcastle United Foundation and the play on the pitch. But we, hot off the heels, Russell, of you walking the wall in May over the 2 days and raising a fantastic amount of money, and we'll maybe talk about that in a minute's time. We also did a 100-mile walk for Dementia last month as well, and that was a mix of people recording their scores on Strava, but also we got a couple of treadmills in the office where people could do a mile here or there. And really pleased to say we smashed that side of things. We were doing that as a charity which was suggested by Luke McGraw, who's our head of marketing at True Potential, who had some family exposure to dementia itself. So it was a cause which meant a lot to Luke personally, and really pleased to say that between all of us in here and everybody in head office, we raised more than £4,000 and smashed the 100-mile target from there. So that £4,000 now, we'll double that at TP. So, really pleased to say, and a huge thank you to everybody who walked a half a mile or a mile. Did you do any more walking, Russell?
I did.
Yeah.
I took a couple of people out 2 weeks ago, one from here and a friend of his, to do their first long hike.
Yeah.
That was 31.5 miles.
That is a long hike.
On a Saturday.
Yeah.
We tried to ruin him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't admit it.
No.
But
was he very quiet?
Fun. We were all quiet, actually,
Yeah.
at the end of that.
It's a long old one, because, Jen, you did the 26-mile last year, didn't you, with me and a few of the others? And
doing it again this year as well.
Yeah. And that was a long 20. I like to think it's a lot of hills because it was in the Lake District. If it was flat on the treadmill, it would have been easy, I'm sure. But
yeah, that's why we planned the Northumberland coast. It's flatter this year.
I hope so.
I think after last year, everyone was a little bit traumatised after that.
That was enough, yeah. Have you been training for it yet?
Do you know what? I haven't. I really need to start, but the second it looks a bit grey outside, I've been like, it doesn't matter. But after last year, I think it's definitely needed. That's this month's task.
That's this month's task, yeah. And Paul, any challenges for you this month? We've got Jen getting into walking training. Russell's kept us up.
Well, I've tried to do something, but I haven't succeeded. I've tried to do the High Rocks.
Oh, yes,
to enter to that, but I didn't get a place for the London ballot. But I tried.
Have you done any trail events for High Rocks yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
There's one in Gateshead apparently in, I want to say November, but I might be wrong on that.
There's a few local gyms do them, and it's quite hard work because you've got to run pretty quick in between each station.
Yes.
So if you like running, you'll be okay.
I'm okay with running. It's the weights that I struggle.
Yeah, the weights are easier, but I'd say that because I'm a poor runner and not bad at weights. So from there. But well, that's quite good to see we're all thinking about getting fit anyway, or fitter. And talking about other things to celebrate in terms of staff. I've got the honour of hosting our 10-year service awards on Wednesday night this week. So as the name suggests, that's for our staff who've gone over that particular milestone now. So we've got 8 new members of the team joining that club. That'll take us up to 53 people in total who have worked with us for longer than 10 years now. Of which we've got 2 in the room, really, and we've got yourselves here. Russell, 16 years, as I mentioned as well before. We don't do anything for 16-year awards, short of let you sit in the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you're very, very welcome. But that'll be good fun. You're speaking to advisors on Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're showing them some of the bells and whistles.
Give them an explanation on AI again.
Yeah, well, you are Mr. AI at the moment, so that's something for you to look forward to this particular month. Something new for you. Paul, you be working hot off the press in terms of election news and trying to track things and bring clients up to date.
Yeah, a couple of things. So elections will, clearly important, particularly for France.
Yeah.
And then we'll get corporate earnings updates. So obviously we've seen excellent returns from the US tech companies, but will they hit the expectations that the markets are looking for? So there'll be a big focus on that towards the back end of this month.
Okay, yeah. So top and tail month, I suppose. Some elections at the start and then earnings at the end.
Yeah.
And Jen, anything exciting? Putting you on the spot now because I didn't brief you this in advance.
For me or the team?
Both.
Oh,
Either.
I've dropped myself in it there.
Yeah.
For me, I do want to get back into the walking. It's something I've been meaning to do.
Yeah.
I've been doing a little bit of extra work this month, so I'll be happy to, be able to put a bit more time into getting into the walking. For the team, you have put us on the spot there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we've done a really good job last month. I think we've got the same kind of coming up again, focusing on those annual reviews again. So I'll be happy to, see them hopefully keep going the way that they have been already.
Yeah, no, because last month was fab in terms of the amount of reviews you had with clients, and it just happens that it's this time of the year, so it's probably a bit of rinse and repeat for you and the team, and hopefully a bit of social events splattered in between.
Yeah, for sure. Well. Hopefully we'll get a bit of sun and can start to, get a bit of a summer in there as well. And
we had some sun last week here in Newcastle. And I'm just looking out the window now and it's pouring down with rain. So back to the British summer we go.
And you forgot the Euros. We're going to bring the Euros back home.
What do you think?
Optimistic.
No,
You've got to be an optimist, haven't you?
I watched the Slovakia game last night.
It's terrible.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
terrible.
but as Greg was saying this morning, he thinks that it's just because we haven't played a genuinely good team yet that we haven't been stretched. Which I
don't buy that one.
Yeah, I'm with you, Paul. I'm a bit more cynical on that one. I think we just haven't looked good because we're not very good.
No.
However, I'll be delighted to be proven wrong on Saturday.
Absolutely.
And when we beat the Swiss 5-0, but I think it might be more like Switzerland 1, England 0. But we'll see. Yeah. But if not, Jen, that gives you something to aim towards because you and the team can go out and watch all the games.
There we go. That'll do us.
There we go. So something to look forward to from an optimistic point of view. And look, I'll wrap things up now, guys. So thanks, Jen. Thanks, Paul. And thank you, Russell. Russell, will you come back?
I think so.
You think so?
I'm invited.
We'll have to ask if you're allowed back. We'll survey all our clients and do a check. But same to you, our clients. I hope that you've got a lot to look forward to this month. It's not all about elections and football, but they are exciting. They are high-ticket items, so we will talk about them and concentrate on them at times. But most importantly, we're going to continue to concentrate on those type of figures, which we've shared with you today, which is finding clients just like you and then helping you and those new clients continue to grow their money and continue to look after your investments and your pensions, what I hope is for many, many more years to come. So have a wonderful July, everybody, and I look forward to speaking to you again next month. Thank you.